Passive income is the most oversold idea in personal finance right now. Over 28% of Americans hold at least one passive income stream in 2026. But the vast majority of those streams are not passive at all. They are labor-intensive, capital-heavy, or both. The real wealth engine is something different, and it is called active leverage. These are systems you build once that scale with near zero marginal cost. Two assets dominate that category in 2026, which are code and media. This video dismantles the passive income myth and gives you the exact blueprint to build leverage systems that actually survive. Section 1. The Passive Income Mirage. Every passive income pitch hides the same brutal trade-off. You can have truly passive income, but only if you bring enormous capital, absorb enormous upfront labor, or accept enormous ongoing risk. There is no version that skips all three. The label passive describes the maintenance phase, not the construction cost. Run the math on the capital side first. To generate $40,000 a year, using a 4% safe withdrawal rate, you need $1 million invested. That is the threshold where money genuinely starts working without you. Most people reading productivity blogs and watching side hustle content are nowhere near that number, which means the passive path they are being sold is actually the grind for years building an asset you hope does not decay path. Digital models do not escape this trade-off. A YouTube channel, an affiliate site, or a course library each look passive once they are running, but what the pitch omits is that all three require constant production to stay alive. If you stop publishing, your algorithm placement collapses, and if you stop updating a course, students simply stop buying. The income is not passive because the maintenance just becomes the new job. Saturation compounds the problem. From 2020 to 2024, wages rose about 18%, while inflation rose closer to 21%. That gap pushed millions of people into side income, and they all flooded the same low-barrier plays at the same time. Generic Amazon KDP, commodity dropshipping, and templated online courses all absorbed a wave of new entrants, and copy-paste tactics now produce diminishing returns. You are not competing with thousands of people anymore. You are competing with millions. The honest conclusion is uncomfortable. Truly passive income is a capital allocation problem. If you have the capital, diversified income assets like dividend equities, bonds, and REITs are more attractive now than they were in the zero-rate era, and they are structurally sound. If you do not have the capital, no shortcut closes that gap. What you can do instead is build something structurally different, and that requires a different framework entirely. Section 2. The Active Leverage Pivot. Active leverage is not about working harder, and it is certainly not just passive income with a new name. There is a precise distinction you need to understand. A passive income asset is something you buy, but an active leverage asset is something you build. The upfront intensity is real, but once the system exists, it distributes and monetizes your initial effort at near zero cost for every new user. Consider the architecture of software. You write the code once, and the 10,000th customer costs you no more than the first one did. Think about a content library that ranks in search engines. Each article works while you sleep, compounds with age, and does not require your physical presence for a transaction to occur, because the marginal cost of serving one more reader is essentially zero. This is the specific structure you are designing toward. Two asset classes own this space in 2026, which are code and media. Code assets include AI-native software tools, automated acquisition funnels, and the internal infrastructure that allows one person to operate with the power of a small company. Media assets are the content engines, consisting of the audience, authority, and distribution you build on a primary channel. Both of these assets compound over time, and both become more defensible as they grow, yet neither requires a team to manage. The reason this is happening now is that AI-assisted development and modern distribution tools have compressed the timeline for builders. A solo founder in 2025 can describe a feature in natural language and ship a production-grade application in weeks instead of months. The same infrastructure that used to require an engineering team, a marketing department, and an operations function now fits inside the workflow of a single person. A 2026 benchmark of 30 top solo startups found revenue per founder reaching up to $10 million per employee. The median time from $0 to $500,000 in annual recurring revenue among these founders is about 22 months. This follows a consistent pattern of niche selection, content creation, and focused acquisition. The pattern repeats with such regularity that it is no longer an outlier, and it has become a predictable playbook for those who know how to use it. You can apply a simple test to any system you are considering building. If you walked away for 30 days, would it still generate value for you? Passive income promises you this result, but often buries the conditions in fine print, while active leverage actually delivers because the asset keeps working independently of your daily presence. The pivot is a strategic reframe where you stop thinking about income streams to chase and start thinking about leverage systems to design. This is not about finding a job. It is about building an engine. The next two sections give you the exact architecture for each asset class, so you can begin the implementation. Section 3. Building the code asset. There are 3 code assets worth building in 2026, and they stack on each other in a very specific order. You must start with the acquisition system. Before you build a product, you should build the machine that converts strangers into paying users. A single high conversion funnel, including a landing page, a Stripe checkout, and an onboarding flow, is more valuable than most products because it is reusable. You build it once, test it once, and then you clone it across every future project you launch. Validation before construction is the absolute rule here, so you should mock up the page and confirm people will hand over money before you write a single line of serious code. Once the acquisition is working, you can move on to building the product itself. The highest leverage play right now is an AI-native micro-SaaS that serves a very narrow niche. The strategy of targeting a market with fewer than 30,000 people consistently outperforms the approach of building for everyone. You can use vibe coding and AI-assisted development to ship a minimum viable product in 2 to 4 weeks. Keep your monetization simple with free credits to start and a low-friction subscription tier to convert users. You should also design the output to travel by baking watermarks and one-click social posting directly into the product so your users handle the distribution for you. The third asset is the one most founders skip, which is the Solo Founder OS. This is the internal automation layer that allows you to operate at scale without hiring anyone. It consists of context files for your AI coding tools, prompt libraries for marketing copy, and automated flows connecting your payments and reporting. Every time you find yourself doing a task manually more than twice, that task becomes a candidate for automation. The OS does not generate revenue directly, but it compresses every future build cycle you undertake. When you have a new product idea, you simply clone the template, update the schema, and reuse your proven launch sequence. The goal is not to create one single product. It is to build a system that lets you launch, test, and scale multiple code assets with minimal friction every time you see an opportunity. Section 4. Building the media asset code. Without distribution is just a file sitting on a server. The media asset is what turns your code into a business. Media leverage works because authority and trust compound differently than software. A piece of content you publish today still ranks in 6 months, and an audience built over 90 days keeps growing without proportional effort. The asset outlives individual products, which means it becomes the moat competitors cannot replicate by simply copying your tool. Pick one primary channel and commit to it. Whether you choose X, YouTube, or a niche community, the specific platform matters less than your ability to hold your position. The $500,000 ARR solo pattern repeats a single behavior across multiple founder case studies. Consistent, high signal output on one channel for 90 days before diversifying. Not 3 channels at 30%. One channel at 100%. Build in public from day one. Share your revenue numbers, your product updates, what broke, and what worked. This is not vulnerability for its own sake. It is a distribution strategy. Founders who show their work attract customers, beta testers, and future collaborators simultaneously. And the audience you build becomes the launch list for every product you ship. Niche selection matters here as much as it does in product development. A small, underserved audience with a specialized tool will always outperform generic content about making money online. You are not trying to reach everyone. You are trying to become the only obvious choice for a specific group of people with a specific problem. Use AI to handle repurposing and scheduling. One long-form piece of content generates threads, clips, and emails automatically. But keep the high-leverage creative decisions human. The strategy, the contrarian take, and the original insight are what the audience actually comes for, and no automation can credibly replace them. Over time, the media asset becomes the infrastructure that makes every code asset launch easier, cheaper, and faster to distribute. Conclusion: the wealth formula in 2026 is not passive income. It is designed leverage, built deliberately across code and media. Drop a comment below. Which of these two assets are you building first? Subscribe for weekly frameworks on leverage, wealth, and the systems that actually work in this marketplace.